Breaking news, this just in. WOOK News is receiving reports of supernatural phenomenon bursting through the borders of reality all across the land of Lund. According to eyewitness reports, ancient entities from Lund's magical past have appeared up and down the road and are terrorizing and titillating festival travelers on their summer tours. Monsters from the age of myth wreak mayhem in the streets, and long-lost magics have flared to life in ways unimaginable outside the realm of fantasy. What's more, these space-time incursions have brought warriors and wizards who claim to come from Lund's lost histories into the modern age. I am joined in the studio by one such adventurer whose very name defies pronunciation. He has described himself as the ambassador of the past. Please, sir, speak into this box.
Yo! What's up, radical dudettes of the future? You can call me Wheezy F Baby, and you'll never believe what I've been through. Last thing I remember, my goons and I were teaching some thieves a hard lesson in etiquette. Then all of a sudden, I was pulled to a bright white light that showed me crazy things, man, and everything was spinning. Then the spinning stopped, but the light was still there, and it got closer, man. It was almost too late when I realized that the light came from one of your growling metallic wagons.
Yes, we call those cars.
Right on, dude. Well, the car stopped moving, and 7 different folks and a small dog hopped out and offered to take me up the road. We squeezed back into their car and started the ride, man.
It sounds like magical events like this are more common where you come from. How did you realize that the very fabric of time had shifted around you?
Well, when these nice folks heard my story, they had all sorts of theories. At first they thought I must be drunk. Then they thought I was crazy and almost kicked me out. But the lady controlling the metal beast...
You mean the car?
Yeah, the lady controlling the car said she had seen something called a movie about time travel. It's taking me a while to understand all these new words, but once I figured out what she meant, it felt right on. That's when we decided to come here and share my story.
Fascinating. And this has certainly been very life-altering for you. Do you have any plans now that you are seemingly stuck here in our present, your future?
Everything has changed, but nothing has changed, man. Turns out the folks who picked me up are on the same journey I was. The world may have changed, but the road hasn't. Once we leave here, I'm back on the road to see the Warlocks.
Sir, we certainly wish you luck. Listeners, I implore you to stay tuned to WOOK for more updates on this reality-bending phenomenon that has come to the land of Lund.
Wooks and Warlocks has adult language and adult situations, including but not limited to sex, drugs, rock and roll, and the occasional senseless act of violence. And for this, listener discretion is advised. Content warning can be found in the description.
I've heard people say buy the ticket, take the ride, but these far-out freaks have been flung to the far future and have no choice but to get on the bus. Let's hope King Kenzie and his happy tricksters are better road dogs than those worrisome wooks. Why would someone steal a person's ashes? Strange questions have even stranger answers in the world of Wooks and Warlocks.
Hello and welcome to Wooks and Warlocks, a role-playing tour through the summer of love. In this podcast, we will be playing out a story of adventure and magic using dice and skills to determine the outcomes of our actions. My name is Trey Miller, and I will play the role of Game Master for this journey. I am joined by 3 of the finest folks to roll the dice. Please introduce yourselves and your characters.
My name is Anthony. I'll be playing Xxxzantor, the newly acquired Drake Warden Bugfolk.
My name is Jessie. I will be playing Granny Glenda. She is a half foxfolk rogue.
My name is John Lombardi. I will be playing Elijah Woodstone, the enlightened elk folk wizard.
When we last left our adventuring party, they were processing the fact that they had stepped out of the festival, which they had been attending, and stepped into a world of madness. Everything that they valued in the world was taken from them by a group identified as Wooks. These Wooks, known for borrowing things that did not belong to them, had fed the party some sort of indetectable poison that caused them to sleep deeply, not realizing that the things most important to them, Xantor's egg, Granny Glenda's grandson's ashes, and Elijah Woodstone's elder's spellbook, were taken along with any gold that they possessed, any bucks that they possessed. The party searched the festival grounds to no avail, only to unite with the queen of the Westcandle Renaissance, who was later revealed to be Penny Lane, of a group called the Happy Tricksters, led by none other than King Kenzie, a lion folk. An honorable sort. When he heard of the missing items, he searched through his lost and found and located Xantor's lost egg. Must have been dropped by the Wooks in their rapid escape. King Kenzie, sympathetic to their plight, agreed to take them on a ride down the road in hopes of discovering the whereabouts of the Wooks at the next stop on the tour down the road. Penny Lane and John Paul, companions of King Kenzie, along with the owl folk Owlsley, went ahead to get King Kenzie's chariot. As the group approached, the chariot was revealed to be a metallic, self-propelled, stinking, steaming beast of a vehicle. Colorful from top to bottom, with windows all around. The sides of this metallic chariot, this siege engine of war, opened to reveal comfortable seating all around the interior of a plush shag tripped out ride. The group piled into the chariot, unbeknownst to them, taking their first step on the bus and beginning a tour that would change their lives and maybe even the world. As John Paul commanded the beast to move forward with haste, he activated some sort of mechanism, and in your ears rings sounds, words spoken. Words you recognize. Words from a person you've never met, not in the room. And then words by another. Someone that you remember. Wheezy F. Baby, the Dolphin Folk. We find the party coming to terms with the knowledge that was just laid at their feet at this harrowing broadcast.
What the hell did your car just say?
Well, I dare say, does this pertain to you all?
Well, yeah, we knew something weird happened with like the lights and the shifting, and all of a sudden things were like a little different, and we assumed we didn't travel through time, but maybe just ended up in a different area.
No way, man. You're telling me you might be some of these folks from the past? That's so far out.
Yeah, what was that? So, yeah, we went from the past. What? That's what they just said. It's
gotta be some sort of a joke.
What year is it?
What do you mean? The year is 1969.
Xxxzantor like kind of grits and kind of just like he has a lot of difficulty dealing with this thing that this guy just said. The numbers doesn't even ring a bell. He's from a time that's like 1969 seems so ridiculous it doesn't even make sense to him. So he's like having a bit of a breakdown right now.
As you each in turn... Oh, does Granny Glenda have a reaction?
At least I don't have to be on the run anymore.
Granny, you just got a lot older.
As you each in turn process the information laid before you, a sound interrupts your pondering. A rap tap, then a crack. Then a noise that could only be described by Xantor as his egg begins to hatch.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Can we pull over? Can we pull over? There's, what's... Oh my god, so much is happening right now. So much is happening. Xantor's like, obviously freaking out from the what he just heard.
Of course, man, I'm going to pull over right now. Yeah, of course. And John Paul is going to command the beast, the car, as you have heard it described. He's going to pull his car over to the side of the road.
When you gotta go, you gotta go.
So Xantor, like, kind of comically, like, because he's got these big, like, bug legs, like, he's, scoops down with all four arms, grabs the little, the cracking egg thing, and, like, kind of, like, big, tall 2 steps, like, down the middle lane of the area that we have.
So as you move to leave the van, you push past Elijah Woodstone, who's sitting on the floor. You push past King Kenzie, who very sympathetic. Oh, of course, excuse me. And he opens the door, swinging wide on the hinges the access to the car, and you I presume go tumbling out onto the mountainside.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, almost loses his he's trying to get out very quickly and around all these people, so you might have to do like an acrobatic check maybe, but he's trying not to like tumble with
let's
his
go ahead and
newborn.
make let's call it a dexterity saving throw to see if you can manage to hold on to your hatching egg.
He's real nervous about becoming a new daddy. We were talking about it earlier.
You're gonna be okay, Sonny.
He fucking aces it. Nat 20.
With your nat 20, you're describe to us the acrobatic vision of athletic brilliance that accompanies you leaving this van.
So it's like trying to like half the brilliance is him trying to navigate around all these like big like animal folk people in this van. It's your typical like pretty tightly packed like van with a lot of flowing clothing and stuff. So he maneuvers in a way that does not actually, it makes all the clothing kind of like move and swoosh with the wind, but he actually doesn't touch anything as he's like leaving the van. And then like on that last step, he just like, it's just all very quick. I think it's nothing too fancy, but it's just very quickly and precise. And you can tell he's got a very good, like, as you can imagine, like a football player holding the ball, but with all 4 bug arms. Like he's got a very tight hold on the egg as it's starting to crack, and he's just like, oh my god, it's happening, They said it was gonna happen, and it's happening, And do you want me to go ahead and describe what I think's happening?
The afternoon sun the shines down on the group as whatever Xantor is about to say happens. The group walks from the van hurriedly. John Paul and Penny Lane, Owlsley and King Kenzie, keeping a respectful distance but watching with rapt attention, joy, beautiful joy spreading on their faces as they watch this beautiful, miraculous birth occur.
So it's like, like one like solid crack down the middle, and then like he starts tapping on it, and it's like, that crack spreads, and there's all these little vines and different branches starting to come off that one. And then it's just like, it's just like that moment you would expect. It's like happening, and you see like a little, it's almost like an emerald green, like a very shiny, like a stone green emerald color, kind of like poking through like a, what is like a baby horn. That's what you're seeing. You're seeing a tiny baby green horn slowly poke out of this egg. And on top of that baby horn is a baby, acid drake face. And it's a cute little acid drake face. Got these big old ears that pop out like a sea creature. It's got a beautiful golden, almost like another stone like embedded to his forehead. And he's just like this tiny, tiny little cute thing. And it's just made Xantor's day. He's like, this is my reason for existing. This is my reason for existing, he says to the group. And
hold eye contact with it. Hold eye contact with it.
He does. And as he does, he gets like this like ancient rage like builds up inside of him of this like bright green light, and it's shining, and he like starts, this whole new language set like starts coming into his brain, and he's like, what's happening is he's learning to speak Draconic, which is the language of the drakes, and this is what he's being like, as the glowing gold centerpiece of the stone on the little baby is like glowing. It's also like, affecting Xantor, and then kind of like they're learning this like bonding language, I guess, which the drake doesn't speak. Xantor doesn't really know what it is at this point. But that's kind of what I would assume is going on as he's being born and popping out of the egg.
As the egg cracks, you notice the group around, their expression, joy, rapture, the birth of something rare. Dragons have not existed in this world for some time. King Kenzie, I don't know what I thought that was, but my goodness, that's a real dragon egg. Is that, what are we seeing here? Totally far out, dude. I can't believe it. Yeah, man, I can't believe it. It's so crazy to see that in person. What a gift, what a gift. And as they sing the praises, suddenly their noses twitch, and the drake twists its head slightly, and then a sound emits from the egg as the last shards of this drake's birthing device shoot into the distance. You hear, unmistakably, the sound of flatulence.
It would be acidic flatulence.
Oh my God, open a window.
And the party gathered needs to roll a Constitution saving throw.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible.
So he's an acid dragon, hence the green color. So we're assuming this is just baby stomach acid stuff. It's okay. It's okay.
Sulfur
It
and
sure
ass.
does stink.
Oh,
Is it a
that's
Constitution
pretty
save?
good. Is it save?
11.
This is a saving throw.
19, 21.
So-
21.
So if you got over, how did you do, Daddy? You have advantage
16.
on this. Okay, great. But roll again if you'd like to take advantage of that advantage.
I got a natty 1 on that roll. So I think he's kind of embracing it. I mean, it hurts a little bit.
Yeah. So
It
if you
hurts to be
got
a dad.
over a 15, you actually find this smell to be pleasant in the way that a musty stable can have a welcoming aroma to it, in the way that
Kind of grows on you.
opening a closet that contains treasures that you haven't seen in years, and it has a smell that reminds you of a time and a place long gone. If you got between a 10 and a 15, then you simply find the smell to be foul and unpleasant. Had anyone gotten below a 10, we would be discussing what happens then. And I suppose I'll go ahead and roll for our onlookers.
It's kind of nice when you sit in it for a minute. It kind of just smells like Grandpa's basement,
That was the most disgusting thing you've ever said.
like leather straps.
I was thinking like in between your toes after a hot day, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
In character, though.
I was thinking like, y'all smell that? God, I love this little guy.
Smells
So,
like babies and fresh leather.
as Owlsley, John Paul, and Penny Lane look on, appreciating this new thing, resonating in the nostalgic smells being produced. The leader of this erstwhile band of happy tricksters, King Kenzie, almost imperceptibly, well, no, he can't hide it. He turns, and unfortunately, he loses the contents of his stomach as he is repulsed by the smell and experience that has happened here. It has overwhelmed him. Let us go ahead and roll for perception with advantage. Just Xxxzantor.
So I assume he was like probably like holding the little fella up so everybody can see him before he let out his big first one. He got a 18 is his best.
So with your 18, you notice a glowing rune lit with an almost hellish glow inscribed on the back of your baby Drake. That glyph is written in Draconic. What does the glyph say?
Yes, because I can read Draconic now, and I hold the little guy up, and as I'm turning him around and showing him and presenting him to everybody, I see this shiny glowing glyph, and it's like I struggle to make it out because I'm just figuring out the language, and he says to everybody, Drake Farkslat. His name shall be Drake Farkslat.
Everyone cheers. The happy tricksters cheer, except for King Kenzie, who politely does something like a golf clap as he turns his head.
We're happy to have him aboard the van. Oh my goodness! Oh,
and he runs back to the van, and you see that he is doing something on the other side of the van.
Smells of a simpler time.
Yeah, so Jean Paul says, it's a radical thing. I'd love to see it. We've got a long drive, though. I'd like to go ahead and keep us going on the road. We've got about a week and a half, 2 weeks before Valley Jam. We best make the best of exploring these mountains while we have the chance. You only live once, you know.
So Xxxzantor like pulls Drake in close to him, and he's looking at him in the eye, and so Drake only currently has, you can't tell if he's got two eyes, but like one of his eyes like slightly closed. You think it might just be like a baby thing where it'll open later. Xxxzantor doesn't care because Xxxzantor has one eye as well, and both their eyes meet for just one moment, and as they do, like Xantor's eye flashes this like, it almost turns from like a bug eye to a draconic eye, and their two draconic eyes meet, and it's like, oh hell yeah! Like this is right. And Xxxzantor just smiles and nods his head, and tucks his little guy in, gets back on the bus.
Gigi, Granny, isn't that beautiful?
Well, if he likes it, that's okay, but I think I'll keep my distance for now because it smells rather foul.
Unfortunately, you all must pile into the same 20 by 15 van and careen down the highway. You each have some time here to explore your companions and get to know your surroundings, and we'll take it around the table and see how Xxxzantor, Granny Glenda, and Elijah Woodstone spend their first week and a half in the bus going down the road. Xxxzantor, after a long but delightful drive into the sunset with Drake Farkslat, the group makes camp. Under the stars, on the mountainside, your new friends and old friends find places to sleep while you do the same. What kind of campsite will you look for?
Xxzantor likes the woods. He'd always just like look for a wooded area that's kind of like safe. He's been camping a lot. He spent a lot of time in the woods, so he like looks for all the right trees that are, bending in the right directions and the terrain which is going to be appropriate to walking on. Xxzantor knows a thing or two about camping.
Yeah, so with your knowledge of survival, you managed to find a solid spot where you pitch a tent, if I recall correctly. You're a tent haver?
Yeah, 2-man tent, yep.
And once your tent is raised, do you go to bed, or are you going to hang out outside of your tent?
Well, y'all don't know this about Xxzantor, but he's like a really kind of a deep thinker. He's been in the woods a lot, and he's spent a lot of time. He has a little journal that he keeps with him, and so he sets up his camp, and he gets Drake over there, and Drake's actually he got him to sleep. So Drake's actually in the tent sleeping right now, like the good little boy that he is, and Xxzantor whips out his journal, and he's like,
Dear Diary, man, what a great week it's been. Man, I haven't written in you in a long time, and I apologize, but so much has happened, so much over this past, well, I guess it's been a couple weeks now, but this last week in particular has just been out of this world. My egg finally hatched. His name is Drake. We're totally in love. He is everything you always thought he would be, and then some. He's amazing. He's taught me how to speak dragon language. He's taught me how to make my eyes change color. I think I can, make doors slam close. I'm learning so much. It's very, very great. I met these cool groups of guys, and they're just taking us down the road. I mean, so, time travel is a thing, and we've, things are different. And so next time we meet up, I'm sure I'll have more information, but for now, the booze seems to be flowing and good, and the people are scantily clad and passing out lots of very good edibles, and we are all having a very good time. I met this fella named JP, this fella named Owlsley, the king of the road. He tells me he's not, but he sure seems like the king of the road, and man, I think we're gonna meet these warlocks. I think we're gonna catch up, and it's just super great. Till next time, diary. Peace, and I love you.
And he closes it and just kind of sits there and contemplates, looking out into the woods, and it's like, damn, I've been far. He's super proud of himself.
As you sit pensively staring into the distance, you hear a sound approach from behind you. The sound of clinking glass and feet breaking stems.
Who's that? Hello?
Hello, it's John Paul. How are you doing? I thought you might want a beer.
Oh, JP, you know me so well, bud. Yeah, I was just sitting here reminiscing, but I'd love a beer. Let's get one. You got some on you?
I've got two right here.
Great.
Listen, your friends tell me you're an aspiring musician. What's that like? I've always wanted to get better at music.
Well, to be honest, it takes a lot of crowd work. I don't know if you're cut out for it, JP. You really got to be a man of the people, man of the crowd. It's really, I'm more of a, what you call a people's musician, maybe even a musician's musician. But for now, it's basically just about a big smile and 4 arms, so,
Radical. Yeah. I've just been practicing. I've got a guitar and I've got a bass. I've been getting good at both of them. I was wondering, maybe if you'd like to play with me, I could go get them.
He doesn't know what a guitar and a bass is. He's not really a musician. So he's like,
yes, I will play with you. Yes, let me.
Do you like the guitar or the bass? Do you play some? What do you play?
I play the stick-a-thump. It's and he holds out his stick and he starts thumping.
Oh, you're a drummer.
Yes.
I had a friend who was a drummer.
Drum up some good business, you know what I'm saying? And he slaps JP on the back.
Oh, Charlie, yes, all right. Well, I'm gonna go get my guitar then, and I'll come and strum, and maybe you can stick a thump along. And he's gonna go get his guitar, and he's gonna come sit by your camp and play some music with you. And why don't you roll a performance check? and we'll roll it with advantage.
Got a -2 and a nat 20.
Oh,
19.
So you got a nat 20. That's great.
And a 1. Nat 1 and a nat 20.
What an awesome spread.
Advantage.
So JP did not do so well. Although his spirits are high, Xantor may be right. He might lack the charisma of a proper musician, and he fumbles through his chords. He plays wrong notes. His rhythm sours, and yet, with your natural 20, you beat your stick in the dirt with such ferocity that oh yes, of course, right. Yeah, there's the rhythm. There's the one. And with your stick-a-thump drum-a-thing, you manage to right his rhythm and get him back in time. And as you play, the evening wastes away. The others begin to go to bed.
Why, thank you all for the music. That was quite lovely.
Yes, I loved it. It was great. Please, you could keep playing if you want. And even Owsley, hoo-hoo! I did enjoy that while I was, hoo-hoo, doing a little bit of experimenting, hoo-hoo! And everyone goes to bed, and you and John Paul are left. Jimmy says, it is a lovely jam. I think I'll leave it there, though. Good night to you, friend. This was good playing.
Good night, JP. And Xantor slowly continues the thumping to try to keep Drake sleeping, and he's it just keeps on going throughout the night, getting quieter and quieter till he falls asleep in his chair or whatever he does.
So days go by on the road, nights pass, with events similar yet different, each unique in their own right. Each flowery field possessed of a different collection of beautiful hues, and yet the road goes on, much the same, each day leading to the next. As you bond with your dragon and your teammates, you find that your understanding of the world around you grows. You've reached level 3 as a ranger and chosen the Drake Warden subclass. Is there anything else about your level up that you would like to share?
I think even Xantor as a character is just overwhelmed with the main part of the Drake Warden is the acquiring of the Drake, the little dragon buddy. So he's no, I mean he's learning about slightly magical powers that the Drake might be giving him, some almost like magician-esque magic, and then just the dragon language. He's kind of overwhelmed with everything right now and really trying to not think about the time travel aspect. So he's probably cool. No, he's good. He's very content and yes, I'm a father now, and that's my duty and blah blah blah.
The road goes on, and we each learn. Let's rewind just a little bit to the moment where Drake Farkslot entered the world. The moment where the happy tricksters and our time-traveling adventurers returned to the van to continue their journey down the road. We now look at this first week and a half from the perspective of Granny Glenda, the half-fox folk assassin.
Okay, so Granny Glenda is definitely going to be spending her time with Penny Lane, but she's going to be discreet about it, wait until nighttime in the camp, or times when we're not all cramped together in the bus. At times we would stop for any pit stops or anything.
Does Granny Glenda approach Penny Lane immediately to form a friendship, and how does she do so?
She pretty much right after she already had a good feeling about Penny Lane based on their encounter as they were leaving, which was just her approaching Granny Glenda and
Yes,
with
yeah.
the
So your
poisons.
first chance to talk with Penny Lane privately would be at your first night camping after a few hours riding down the road, with plenty of time to process the information garnered from the radio broadcast. You arrive at the campground less equipped than some of your companions, and Penny Lane, noticing your lack of tent. Oh, hello, Granny Glenda. I'm sorry, I shouldn't call you that. I'll just call you Glenda. Glenda, why don't you come camp with me? I've got an extra bunk. I've got one of these fold-out doohickeys, and she shows you that she has a folding cot made with sturdy wood, holding canvas fabric, and it folds out to form a bed. And she says, I've got an extra one. I carry it with me everywhere.
That sounds very sweet of you, darling, and it's really a good thing you're doing, keeping a grandma off the hard ground.
Oh, I couldn't imagine doing anything else. Just tell me, why are you here, Glenda? This seems like a rough and tumble sort of lifestyle. I know we always welcome elders, of course, but it's... Well, I know you're a little hard-edged, but tell me.
Well, sweetheart, I've been living this lifestyle for quite some time. You see, I've been on the run for about as long as I can remember. There's lots of people chasing after me, and they're very dangerous.
Her elven eyes go wide. She's on the run? You running from the fuzz?
I have no idea what the fuzz is. I mean, if you're talking about furry creatures or something like that, I mean...
Oh, you know the fuzz, the popo, the 5-0, the cherry tops. Surely you've heard of them.
She's just, getting way... her face is scrunching up. She's way more confused about what's going on. Dearie, I have no idea what you're talking about.
I thought there's always been some sort of police force. I suppose... And you see her get pensive for a moment. I suppose, if I think about the Renaissance that we were just at, that's supposed to emulate your time. So, guards? You running from guards?
I am running from gods. I am running from other assassins. Assassins. I am running from...
Did you say... Have you... Granny Glenda, have you taken lives?
I have seen the light leave some eyes in my time.
I thought you were joking about the poison that would kill 4 elephants. My goodness, Glenda.
I don't joke around about such things, dearie.
I dare say I might learn a thing or two from you. And you see her turn around. She says, this is what I have. And she pulls out her chemistry set that you guys were experimenting with and closing up at the Renaissance Fair. And she shows you the ingredients that she has. And the two of you spend an hour and a half uninterrupted studying the available ingredients and the potential combinations of different poisons that can be made. You discuss making poisons into edible forms. You discuss making poisons into coatable forms. You present the mushrooms that you garnered at the outset of your adventure, and the two of you spend 30 minutes time concentrating them into usable versions of each. And you now have one minor poison, one poisoned cookie, one minor sleep, one sleep cookie. as you bond throughout the evening, night falls, and you hear music in the distance. Sloppy at first, but much to your surprise, your companion Xxxzantor thrums out a solid beat, and John Paul catches the groove, giving beautiful music to your evening's romp. As the hours pass by, Penny Lane grows tired. I don't know how much more I have in me, but I was thinking I might do a bit of knitting before bed. What do you think? Have you ever done any knitting, Glenda?
Oh, well, I've done some sewing in my time. I've never tried what that is.
Well, this is a bit different. See, you use these long needles, and she pulls out a box containing beautifully hand-engraved, filigree-covered silver needles about the length of a hand and forearm. These needles are sharp at one end with a slight hook, and conical coming down to a handle wrapped in fine leather, suede, also engraved with Art Nouveau-esque filigree. I've got an extra pair that you can hold on to if you'd like to study the art, and I dare say my mother always told me I could use them in a pinch for self-defense, and she sort of jabs at you with them comically, sloppy to your eye, of course. She said, "Ha-ha!"
Oh, sweetheart, I would love to have some of those if you wouldn't mind giving them to me.
Well, of course. I've got more. I can only ever use one at a time anyways. I always wondered why Mother's set contained so many. If you find yourself at a loss, we have more of these, but I've always said I would sell them if I needed them. Please do keep those safe. They're very dear to me. And she pulls out a ball of yarn, and she says, this is how you do it. And she begins to show you the intricate weaving patterns that create at first a sheet of fabric from knitted lines of yarn, then eventually forming it into a shape. And as the evening progresses, roll a sleight of hand to see how well Granny Glenda picks up knitting.
Oh my gosh, yeah, so she rolled a 17. And that's going to be plus 9. So, 26.
With Penny Lane looks at you. She says, "My goodness, Granny Glenda, something tells me you weren't honest with me. You're taking to this like an old expert."
Well, it's just beginner's luck. And as she's saying that, she kind of like lifts up the sweater that she is designing. And it's just like burning fields is the design that's on there.
She laughs at your fields on fire knitted with yarn and says, "I made this for you." And she hands you some knitted mittens. It can get rather cold out here in the mountains, and I hope that helps you.
Thank you, darling. They're just my style.
After an evening of enjoyable exploration of poisons and possible combinations, fun and fancy-free knitting, Penny Lane bids you good night. She points across her tent to an available cot and tosses an extra pillow on it. "I hope you're comfortable. I'm going to bed."
I think I'll be just fine, darling.
Does Granny Glenda call it a night?
Yeah, I think Granny Glenda, knowing what she knows now about the ingredients needed, she's going to kind of go and look around camp where there's light and look for ingredients.
Awesome. So there's a central campfire. There's not a lot of light outside of the central campfire, but you get about a 30-foot radius of light, and you can search in that area for familiar herbs. I believe that we have some lichen that deals a D4 of poison damage, and we have mushrooms that cause sleep. And I can't recall the HP. I think it was up to 10 HP goes to sleep.
So what?
You would roll survival to look for herbs, and I guess lichen is not an herb.
So that's gonna be 12 plus 3, which is 15.
All right, so with your 15, you manage to scavenge an additional portion of sleep mushrooms and an additional portion of poison lichen, enough to make either one cookie or one vial of concentrated coating of each. As you pocket your finds, your companions continue to sleep. You see that Owlsley begins to put out the fire. Xantor and John Paul continue their listless jamming.
I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, sweeties. And she's gonna slip into the tent and quietly get in bed as to not wake Penny Lane.
The days pass, much in the same fashion. Some days different than others. The beauty of each flowery field containing something unique for the eye. And though each day may seem the same, something different blossoms. You begin to grow comfortable with the new setting that you find yourself in. Although it is far flung from the world that you grew up in and the world you grew old in, you are no stranger to changing environments. You see that your knowledge of the world around you grows as the miles pass, and you have leveled up. You are now level 3 as a rogue, and you have chosen the subclass Assassin. Would you like to tell us anything else about what's happened with Granny Glenda during this week and a half as she levels up and becomes more comfortable with the world around her?
Well, as she's getting to know the tricksters and going out in the van and having late night conversations with Penny Lane, she becomes proficient with a poisoner's kit. And along with that, I imagine someone is doing like face makeup. Is there anyone doing face makeup there? Granny is also going to get proficient with a disguise kit as well.
Great, yeah. So as you learn from the happy tricksters, you do find that they each know how to dress themselves in fancy motley and color their faces with different palettes. They teach you how to incorporate pigments from the world around you into disguise to alter your appearance.
Yeah, and she also learned how to, as a bonus action, dash and hide and disengage. So I guess like learning how to hide better, being around so many people because she's used to being on her own for so long now.
Let's rewind time once again to the moment Drake Farkslot entered the world. The happy tricksters return to their merry little bus, and our time-flung adventurers follow. Elijah Woodstone, coming to terms with reality, sits down in the van for the second time.
Yeah. So him feeling pretty useless without his book, and decides to pick up a conversation with Owlsy. He knows Owlsy.
Owlsley?
Owlsley.
It's hard to say.
Owlsley.
Not Owlsley, the famous chemist, but Owlsley, the non-copyright infringing
Oh no.
character in our RPG adventure. So as you strike up a conversation with Owlsley, the wizened, heavy-set owl folk turns his cheeks in a way that you see as smiling. Ho-ho! It's wonderful to meet you, sir. Ho-ho!
I'm feeling a little pointless here, Owlsley. Owlsley? Am I saying your name correctly?
Ho-ho! That's right. Ho-ho! It's a little on the nose, I know.
I have no more spell book, and it might probably, most likely, certainly doesn't even matter anymore because, like, everybody I've ever known is probably dead outside of the few that are here with us right now, which I just kind of met.
You see Owlsley's eyes go wide. Oh, that's a lot of information at once. Let me see. We'll get back to your spell book, but I say, I don't know much, but I know this. The Warlocks have a power, a connection to the universe. Oh, it goes beyond anything I've seen in my many years. There's never been magic while I was alive, and yet I knew something of magic from the music the Warlocks play. If there are any who will know how to get back, it will be they. I'm curious to learn more about the way the Warlocks were perceived in your time. I have heard tell of these legends of the ancient Warlocks. As long as I've remembered, they've been a touring band. Ho-ho! But a book is a book, my friend. You've lost something important to you, but what is lost can, of course, be found again. And though it is new to me, I believe that I have begun to tap into these same wizarding arts. He reaches into his pocket and he says, I've been writing in this. Hoo-hoo! Perhaps it will help you. And he hands you a moleskin, a small writing journal bound mostly of paper, thick paper on paper. In it, you see written a few incantations. And though the script is foreign to your eye, you recognize the shapes from your time perusing the elders' books. Ho-ho! Some sort of divine inspiration, you might say. Ho-ho! Ho-ho! I've been having dreams, very strange dreams. And in those dreams, I've learned things. I've learned a language so arcane it cannot be spoken by our tongues. But to know those words and to write them has power. I've seen it and I've used it, though in secret. These last few days seem to have brought something into this world. Why don't you take it? And he hands you his moleskin, and you have the moleskin. He says, "Keep it. It's yours."
I couldn't keep it.
No, I can
Let
make
me
it
borrow
again.
it and I'll return it to you when I get mine back.
Well, that's fair. And you see that the book is a kind gift, but it is simple and limited. It will only hold so much information, but it is already filled with a few spells. And Owlsley says, if you give me some time, I think I could teach you to read these ones. And he offers to tutor you in magical writing. The van makes it to the first campsite, and everyone sets up for the evening. Xxxzantor jamming away. Penny Lane and Glenda sharing an evening in private. King Kenzie sits at the fire, deep in thought, speaking to no one. Owlsley approaches you after your bedroll has been laid. Would you like to start studying now?
Well, yeah, I've actually been trying to remember the few spells I did decipher in my book. I have the image of them in my brain. I've been doing my best to write them down here, and you look at it, and it's just like, it looks like he's been writing it with his feet. Like it's just like it's like the worst like script. Like some of it's pictures, and then some of it's letters. Like,
and I'm imagining like he's been writing it with his feet, like his deer feet, which do not have any grip to them whatsoever.
It's just a mess, like a really bad like serial killer handwriting meets like hieroglyphics.
Owsley chuckles, a chortly owl laugh, and he reaches down and says, "I see. I'm going to have to show you the glory of whiteout." And he pulls a jar of white ink out and cleans your page, and he says, blows on it. He says, "Let's give this a moment to become fresh. Why don't you take a look at this?" And you see that he's got another moleskin that he has already written down what he had written, and he says, he starts instructing you in glyphs. He says, "This glyph is comparable to our A. This comparable to F." And he continues on in this fashion, showing you glyphs. "This one makes more the sound of a Y, a U, and a Z together, but it is one symbol. Each of these shapes, though foreign, begins to seat itself in your mind. At first, reluctantly, but then with a magical insistence, the sort of magical insistence that accompanies knowledge gained. As you resonate in this new information, more glyphs appear before your eyes, and you find that you can recall the spells that you cast from the Elder's Book, and you are able to write them down."
And then he also gave me a few extra as well that I can learn to copy in.
You can now read the spells that were in the book. He handed you the book with a couple spells. Why don't you tell us what those spells are?
I'm level 3, baby.
Yeah,
now I'm enlightened. I'm a transmutation wizard, was my school, or my arcane tradition. It's the school of transmutation. And then basically, from there, he gave me, I guess whether it was in the form of a scroll or it was written in the book already, and he helped me decipher it. I got the level 1 spell, Earth Trimmer, level 1 spell, Featherfall, and the level 2 spell, Dragon's Breath. And then we're gonna cue to like montage music taking place, and like I'm writing stuff, and it's like getting better over time, and then like getting real excited. We're out in the field, and then like he's running through a field of flowers. Elijah's running through a field and gathering flowers because he's learning, and he grabs those flowers, and then it's like bam, back to the van again, and the little dragon's farting, and Miss Granny's about to throw up, and Elijah pulls out. He made a mask that's like stuffed with wildflowers for Granny, and he like puts it on her face and gives her a little kiss on the cheek. Then he goes back to writing some more, and then cue, and it's like Owsley, Xxxzantor, and Elijah, and like the little dragons on a rock, and Elijah like touches them, and he like shoots out like a big fire, and then like ice afterwards, and we're all just like happy and laughing and like montaging, and then like back to like settling down for the night. Like I've learned so much, and it was real exciting.
As the night settles, a thick sleep takes you over. You are taken from your slumber.
That's where it gets dark.
To a place beyond knowledge, and you begin to perceive yourself, but you are not yourself.
So I see like in my dreams, like things get dark, and there's like clear war taking place. It's like a battle, and there's like fire and like screams, and there seems like death and terror all around. But it zooms in, and it's me. Maybe no. Like it's definitely an elk folk, and he's blasting all sorts of magic that I could never even hope to fathom. And but it's weird. He's got like a metal arm and a metal leg, and outside of that, like Elijah isn't really sure what he's looking at, and like glimpses, like possibilities of like, oh my goodness, is this the original elder, or like who could this be? But it's very scary at the same time. Like when he sees that and zooms in on that wizard battling, it's kind of where it ends. But it was like a little beacon of hope in the middle of a bunch of darkness.
So, you awake from your dream in a cold sweat.
Sweetie. What the hell was that? And then immediately I would probably go to Owsley.
As you rouse from your slumber, you hear a noise approaching your camp. Oh, are you all right? You were making quite a fuss.
I had a crazy dream.
You too, huh? Was it of the war?
Yes, it was definitely a war, but there was somebody that looked like me. Maybe it was me, but or it was the past. I don't even know if this was what timeline this was in.
Oh.
But it was intense. I hope it was the past.
They're sleeping intense over there. Oh. I'm sorry, that was inappropriate.
That was a good pun.
He
I definitely feel a little better now.
He does the owl
actually.
version of blushing. He says, little comic relief, but let us not take this portent without ceremony. I believe that I have been having similar dreams of a thing that is to come, a battle, something far different from this happy trickster lifestyle that we are currently hoo-hooing, and I know not what to make of it, but it bids ill omen that those of magical connection seem to be seeing such sights. Hoo-hoo!
Well, I appreciate you checking on me, but I'm gonna need some time alone. I need to clean up. I shaped a little water in my sleeping bed.
Yes. We've all been there. And he says he leaves you to your sleep. Glad that you're okay, but walking with a bit of a stiffness to his step as he contemplates these visions that seem to be coming to you all. And days pass and nights go by, and you grow more comfortable with your group and the world around you. You've described in pretty thorough detail what it was like for you to become an enlightened transmutation farm wizard. I don't want to lose the farm part. Is there anything else about your character's development that you would like to describe?
Yeah, there's a couple things as well, like as you see on the road, like obviously I used to be a farmer, so like talking with Owsley and asking, like where do y'all get food? Like where's the nearest farm? And like you see another, like in the montage, it's like introducing to, how do they get food? Like little stores, I guess. Like
sure.
A little bodega.
So they do enter into a bodega. You pull up to a building, not so different from buildings that you've seen before, with some sort of stand out front with hoses coming off of it. You see a clerk sitting behind a large windowed wall, the counter in front of them. You see bags and boxes as colorful as the eye can imagine, filling shelves full to bursting. It seems as though this world has no end to supplies. Yeah, man, just go on in. I think you guys are a little rough on money, so we'll cover you for now, but just make sure you contribute to the pot later on. John Paul offers to pay for your sustenance, and you all are able to get food supplies.
I'm gonna say as he's pulling out his money, he drops one of his coins on the ground, and I go to pick it up for him, and as I hold it in my hand, like right before my eyes, I see it flashing from copper to silver to gold to copper to silver to stone to gold, and then it goes back to what it was, and I like just hand it to him. Like, whoa, all
What
right.
was that?
I'm not quite sure, but
You're not crazy. I saw it as well. Must be some of your wizardy stuff.
if we can control something like that, we won't have to worry about money.
My goodness, yes, it seems quite powerful. Why don't you just, you could make it gold. We could get a lot more stuff. And John Paul's going to suggest that you turn it gold.
So focus and like try to think gold, 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 and hit it, and pops Pops it into gold. Minor alchemy.
My goodness. And he takes the coin, which was previously copper, and says, why don't we go ahead and fill up the tank then? And he flicks the gold coin to the cashier and pays for the supplies and says, fill up the tank. And after saying so, you watch him go and feed the metallic beast, which they call the van or bus.
With the hose.
With the hose coming from the stand out front. Events like this bring color to each day as you travel further down the road. Days pass. Colorful characters come and go as you bond with your group. The happy tricksters grow to trust Xxxzantor, Granny Glenda, and Elijah Woodstone as one of their own. They share with you as equals, and each night, when camp is pitched, they share meals, music, and livery, as though you are each their old friends. As the mountains pass and the forest fades, the van passes through a canyon. Rock walls, tall as castles, loom on each side of the van. It's late. You haven't set camp because the canyon has been much longer than anticipated. John Paul, determined to find a good spot to camp, presses into the night. Bright lights come from the front of the beast. And you pull up and through the canyon. When finally the mountain walls pass and a valley spreads before you, your lights shine on the reflective surface of a car smashed into a tree, steaming, smoke coming from its engine, smoke coming from the front compartment. John Paul pulls the van over, and you see an elderly woman with silver hair, accompanied by a small cat. She stands with her thumb outstretched, waving to garner your attention. And we'll pick up there next time on our next thrilling installment of Wooks and Warlocks.
Round and around in the tunnel when it's dark we go, searching through the rubble for what wants to spark like a shout in the night. And the sight of the past, it can fill us with fear all night, though we know the wheel comes back after time. Oh, sweet time. And the soul will rise from the ashes. We will climb as we shout into the night. Let no man mute my battle cry.
Wooks and Warlocks features Anthony Ryan as Xxxzantor, the Bugfolk Ranger, Jesse Bennett as Granny Glenda, Half Foxfolk Rogue, John Lombardi as Elijah Woodstone, the Elk Folk Wizard, and Trey Miller as Dungeon Master. Intro and outro feature the song Flight of the Phoenix by Tire Fire. Recording and editing are completed in-house by the Wooks and Warlocks team, recording consultation provided by Adam Horwitz. You can find us online at Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Discord under the name Wooks and Warlocks. Links can be found in the description. If you would like to sponsor an episode of Wooks and Warlocks, please contact us at wooksandwarlocks@gmail.com. Thank you for listening.
Dark clouds brewing a storm deep in the sky. Words spoken in anger, vibrant like a neon sign in the mind's eye, multiplied by time and time again. It's those we love that we lose when we struggle with what's inside, just hoping for hope, something to ward off the fright and the soul will rise from the ashes.